January 3rd, Mark Edge.
Look in the mirror. The best and hardest lessons are often learned there. Mark Edge was at a retirement party when he spotted Beth from a distance. A twinge of guilt stung him. It had been 3 or 4 years since he had seen her, and that last memory wasn't a good one. He had been a pastor then. He had followed all the rules, even stood a step or two up on his ministerial high horse. When Beth and her husband came to him for guidance because they were struggling and on the verge of divorce, Mark prayed for them. He encouraged them to work things out and to not give up. But Beth was having none of it. She was done. Yet Mark was certain they could salvage things, and it frustrated him that Beth wouldn't budge. Why couldn't she try? Why couldn't she realize she was even a small part of the problem and press through? Mark started to look down on her, and as much as he didn't mean to, he had judged her. And he knew it. Beth felt the weight of his judgment, and after Beth and her husband divorced, she left Mark's church. As the darkness of judging people crept into his life, more bleakness descended in Mark's own marriage. Soon, he ended up in a similar situation, married, but his wife was done. But he was a pastor. How could he talk about it? He didn't. He shared it only with a few close friends for fear others would judge him. It was the very thing that had snared him when he had worked with Beth, and now he had thought of it, probably others too. Now Mark was single, divorced, but also changed. Stripped of all dignity and reputation, he understood the meaning of grace in a way he never had before. In the middle of his time of conviction, God drew Mark close and began to restore him. Mark felt God's love and forgiveness. It exposed areas of self-righteousness he hadn't been aware of, and now he had a full grasp of that truth. We're all on the same level, at the foot of the cross. We all need grace, forgiveness, and love. And that's what Beth had needed years before. Mark should have been a friend. He should have been like Jesus, but he failed. But now, here she was, all these years later. He was no longer a pastor, and he was definitely off of his high horse. He had no horse, no pride left, nothing to lose. He decided to say something to Beth. He approached her. They casually greeted one another. Mark said, "I want you to know, when you were going through your divorce, I wasn't kind to you, and I know it now. I want you to know I'm very sorry about that." Beth smiled and said, "Thank you. I absolutely accept your apology." It's not like it would fix everything for Mark and that he would magically feel like a new man. But after a short conversation with Beth, he walked away a little lighter. It was good for them to see each other as they were. None better than another, just regular human beings, broken, forgiven. Coming to this realization was a turning point for Mark, seeing people more like Jesus sees them and loving them more like Jesus loves them, no matter how imperfect they are. The book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verses 22 through 25 tells us, "The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh every morning. I say to myself, the Lord is my inheritance. Therefore, I will hope in him." Has darkness crept into any part of your life? Look in the mirror. The best and hardest lessons are often learned there.
Hello, men. Today is January 3rd. My name is Jason Webb. I'm the founder of the Profitable Christian Business Owner community on Facebook, as well as being known as the Profitable Salesman. Today's story is on Mark Edge. As you heard in this story, Mark Edge was a pastor. He had a biblical foundation and he knew God, yet he still fell short. He still prematurely judged the lady was going through the divorce and having the issues. Well, he ended up falling into that same path, and he really resonated with him where he was stuck in that. He did have a chance to redeem himself and ask for that apology and get that redemption. How many times do we fall short and we do the same things? We prematurely judge people. We look at people and we have stereotypes and we really think about, okay, this is what we think of them, this is what we think of them. When yet we really need to look in the mirror and look at ourselves. We need to point the fingers back at ourselves and say, look, where am I falling short of Jesus? How can I be more like him? How can I love my neighbor? How can I love the people around me in the congregation? So that's my challenge to you today. Look in the mirror, see what you can do better. See how you can look at them like Jesus looked at them and show love and compassion. So number one thing he wanted us to do, right? Love your God and love your neighbor. You guys have a fantastic day, and God bless.